Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today we're looking at the top 10 documentaries you haven't seen but totally should. Documentaries are probably the most underappreciated film genre, even as the viewing public seems increasingly enamored with every flavor of reality television. Even worse is when high-profile rabble-rousing pieces from people like Michael Moore or Al Gore discredit documentaries as a whole and steal publicity from smaller, more honest and more interesting movies. This article will give some well-overdue attention to less famous docs that would, in a fairer world, be better known than all the blockbuster fiction movies or the Ken Burns-type movies. Number 10. Sunshine Hotel from 2000. A short film about the closing down of New York City's last flophouse, the site of mostly old men, in some cases driven somewhat crazy by their standards of living and addictions, shuffling through lives most of us would consider a living hell, is predictably depressing. But there are some surprising sparks of life in these people, especially in Bruce, a guy who makes alcohol runs for the other tenants and takes time to make a succinct and surprisingly inspiring speech about how work works. Number 9. Home Movie from 2001. Director Chris Smith has already made the relatively well-known film American Movie, which introduced the world to the horror movie maker Mark Borchardt. While his follow-up film does not have quite the dramatic punch of that film or quite the emotional investment, Home Movie is much more fun. A mosaic of different homes, many of them are quite different from your average home. It contains many laugh-out-loud moments along with the occasional poignant scene, several of which are courtesy of an alligator specialist. Yes, seriously. Number 8. Blood in the Face from 1991. This film is very largely comprised of footage of rallies by the American Nazi Party and the Ku Klux Klan and interviews with their various spokespeople. The movie has drawn some criticism for not including any narration or footage to refute the claims upon which the organizations are founded. Reviewers have actually asserted that it is possible that the movie will be used as a recruiting tool. Honestly, the movie features members of the KKK seriously reporting about a 35,000-man army of Mongolian cavalrymen assembled in Canada just waiting to invade, along with the theory that Caucasians are the emotionally superior race because they can blush. This is what the title of this film, Blood in the Face, refers to. If you see this movie as anything but a frightening message of the thought processes involved in being a member of these organizations, you were probably going to turn dangerous anyway. Number 7. The Last Cigarette from 1999. Just as a quick note here before we get into this entry, we're not really including much video because we couldn't find a trailer for this movie. We searched a lot on YouTube but got nothing. This movie is also from the guys who made the Blood in the Face movie. It's a documentary about the banning of cigarettes from public places, and it again turns hilarious and horrifying. Again, without commentary from the filmmakers, we see various news reports and bits of archival footage that illustrate the nature of cigarette addiction throughout American history, along with some ridiculous footage of the congressional hearings that resulted in massive fines for tobacco executives. Highlights include a sampling of smoking fetish videos, there's no nudity, it's just women smoking, and a story of a man who demanded his legal right to keep smoking in his garage in the face of evidence that it was hurting the health of his upstairs neighbor. Number 6. Cane Toads, An Unnatural History from 1988. One of the funniest documentaries ever made is about a serious subject. It's a loopy analysis of the impact of a 19th century importing of cane toads into Australia in order to fight an outbreak of cane beetles. It turned out the toads couldn't really feed off the beetles anyway, so they just bred their way out of control and became one of Australia's ugliest environmental disasters. The footage of toads eating mice, poisoning pets from the toxin in their skins, being adopted as pets, being run down by devoted truck driver killers, and even creepier stuff will possibly give you the strangest laugh of your life with how it's handled in the documentary. Alternatively, it might just make you uncomfortable that Australia exists. Number 5. Manufactured Landscapes from 2007. Ostensibly about high-profile photographer Edward Bertinsky's dramatic photographs, this film is really more about the massive advancement of industry in the developing world. While the photographs are excellent and often very obviously staged, it's more what director Jennifer Bachwell does with her motion pictures that affects the viewer. An incredibly long shot of a factory floor in China sounds boring, but long before it's done, it changes from boring to breathtaking from the sheer scale of what's being shown. Incredible rivers of industrial waste and teams of people picking through garbage dumps are shown more conventionally, but no less effectively. Number 4. The Devil's Miner from 2005. This film is most significantly about teenage Bolivian miner Basilio Vargas working in a silver mine. It's so dangerous that a strange variation on Catholicism has been created for the region, where the deaths in it are considered sacrifices to the devil. Needless to say, our protagonist still has his plans for getting out of there and living a real life. It's a great counterpoint to Manufactured Landscapes, which is about documenting the sheer vastness of progress in the developing world and environmental concerns. This portrait of an individual in a portion of the world less touched by progress is great for showing what the cost of the alternative to all of that is. Equally essential viewing is a special feature on the DVD called 1 Year Later, which revisits the situation 1 year after the fact. Number 3. Harlan County USA from 1976. In 1973, the miners at Harlan County, Kentucky went on strike against Eastover Mining and Duke Power Companies because they were not being allowed to join the United Mine Workers despite a majority vote. The strike, as documented in this movie, stretched on for 13 months and was extremely violent. So bad was it at one point that filmmakers Barbara Koppel and Henry Pete actually filmed strikebreakers shooting at them. Despite having a very bittersweet ending, this movie remains one of the best documentaries of the 1970s, if not one of the best documentaries of all time. Just as a warning, if you are considering seeing this movie, it does contain a lot of folk music being sung by people who are not singers at all. Number 2. Lake of Fire from 2006. The extremely divisive issue of abortion legalization in America gets the best analysis you could realistically expect in this 16-year project from Tony Kaye, also of American History X fame. The movie is entirely black and white, but the portrayal of the issue is anything but. Articulate individuals express their opinions on the subject, and both oddly callous pro-elective abortion legalization and anti-abortion legalization individuals show how far extremism can go. One interview is with a murderer who actually says, yes, people who say "God damn it" at baseball games should be executed. This will probably be the moment in the movie that makes the strongest impression, but the movie also offers many others. Number 1. The Yes Men from 2004. Combine the Wall Street Journal business section with Jackass the movie, and you get a sense of how great the pranks featured in this fourth movie by Chris Smith are. Touching on financial concerns that affect the world over, corporate pranksters Mike Bonanno and Andy Bichlbaum top themselves again and again as far as making overpaid representatives and highfalutin corporate seminars seem utterly idiotic. In fact, we think they're so good that we're not going to spoil anything here, but do consider this. The same year that this movie came out, the Yes Men used the BBC to make a prank announcement featuring Andy Bichlbaum saying that Dow Chemical would be donating $12 billion to assist in providing medical treatment to those who experienced health damage as a result of the pollution the company caused. That ended up dropping the company's stock by $2 billion, and we're betting that Dow Chemical wished more people had seen the movie. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe for brand new videos just like this every day of the week. Also, over there on the right, a couple of other videos that you might enjoy if you enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching.